Here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Post Football Podcast. Today, I'm joined by the Cayman Islands boys once again. We've got Daniel Harrington and Michael Eggleshaw. Daniel, how are you? Michael, how are you guys going?
I'm good, mate.
Going
All
good, man.
Just watch the Europa League. Loving life.
Well, it's better than us. I guess it's always that saying of Thursday night Europa League is always the best to watch. But yeah, the Europa League has been entertaining to say the least. Apologies for Michael's camera not working. A few technical difficulties with that one, but yes, well,
very technical.
Yes, very technical. Starting. We'll start things off. The topics I should say we're going to cover today is Champions League build-up. We've got Atalanta against PSG tomorrow, and we'll also look at a bit of the Europa League as well. United progressing against Copenhagen, and Wolves being knocked out by Sevilla late on in that game. But we'll start off in the Champions League. Much build-up to the bubble in Lisbon. Daniel, we'll get your take on. I guess we'll start off with Atalanta against PSG.
Well, it's definitely going to be an interesting game. If I'm not mistaken, PSG will be without Mbappe. I don't know if you guys can back that up.
He's back in training, and they're like questioning whether or not they should risk him. Do you guys think they should risk him?
Well, if they fancy themselves progressing in the tournament, I think you don't risk Mbappe because you don't want him out for the semis and final. So without Mbappe, obviously things are different, but they still do have Neymar, and Neymar is Neymar. But when we're looking at Atalanta before, maybe a couple of weeks ago, I would have said, in a one-off game, Atalanta, they could do some serious damage because they score for fun, especially in the Serie A and against the likes of Juventus. But unfortunately, they've lost Ilicic due to personal reasons, which is a real shame because he's one of their biggest goal threats, and I think that's going to hurt them a lot in this next game. And I do think that PSG will just have enough to beat them. If you want a prediction, I'll say 3-2 PSG.
3-2 PSG. Yeah, I think it has the making of quite a high-scoring match. I mean, also taking into consideration PSG playing competitive football as well. So, the French, French league stopped when that's for them. Atalanta, as you said, scoring for fun, and without Mbappe in that side, they definitely have a bit more. But obviously, still have. But other than that, it's not necessarily the strongest of PSG side if you take Mbappe and Neymar out. Michael, what do you think?
I think this is going to be a test for PSG to see whether or not that back line is good enough to win a Champions League with Meunier in it, with kind of an aging Thiago Silva.
Is Meunier there and Thiago Silva, or their contracts run out and they can't play anymore?
No, they're still playing.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they're still playing. They just have like a little agreed extension so that they can finish out the Champions League.
Okay. Yeah.
And a Bernard at left back, and I think he's around 5'5", so might be a target for Atalanta to exploit.
Yeah. Do you think if PSG aren't to progress in this tie, do you think Thomas Tuchel could be in trouble with losing his job come the end of this campaign?
Well, if I was PSG, it would depend on how they lose. I think Atalanta has the capability to win for sure, just based off their form and their hunger. But I don't think PSG will lose, to be honest. So I think he might be safe.
I personally think that if they do go out, given that I think the PSG owners will have to look at their side of the draw and think, realistically, we should be getting to the final. And I think if they do go out to Atalanta, I would say Tuchel will probably lose his job. But the only thing that might save him right now is who you're going to replace him with, especially so close to the next season. So I guess the only person I can really think of, and I think we touched on this last time, is we said Sarri might thrive in the French league. So if Tuchel goes, you never know, they might sign Sarri. Uh, but I think it would be warranted if they do go out that Tuchel gets sacked.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
That's PSG. That's what their managers do, is to go far in Europe, and they've all done that in recent times. And I guess this is the sort of the draw, the PSG. Sorry, let me rephrase that. The side of the draw that PSG are on for this Champions League, if they progress against Atalanta, which we are sort of expecting them to do, they either play Leipzig or Atletico Madrid. So you could say this is probably their best shot of making the Champions League final that they could have for some time. So, and in the past, when they've been considered as one of the favourites for the competition, they've cracked under the pressure big time. So this will be a massive test, especially without having played competitive football for a long time, to see whether they step up to the plate.
At the same time, though, you look at Lyon, hadn't played football in a very long time either, and they got the job done against Juventus. So maybe it's not as big of a problem as we think it is.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe it's maybe it's the rest they needed, actually, because we know how often these players play and all the fitness tolls that they take. So it could be a benefit to them in that sense as well. But I also think Neymar, lots of pressure on his back, moving to PSG, obviously playing under the shadows of Messi at Barcelona. It's now his time to shine, take PSG illustrious Champions League title. So lots of pressure on him. Obviously, there's no supporters in the crowd and stuff which sort of takes a bit of weight off his shoulders. But I think there's still a lot of pressure on Neymar to pull through as well. What do you guys reckon?
Yeah, for
Michael?
sure. There's a lot of pressure on Neymar. There's a lot of pressure on him during the World Cup as well, for sure, when he is expected to take Brazil to the title. But so I think that might be something he's used to now, hopefully. And yeah, I hope he turns up. I really hope he turns up against Atalanta, because he could be like the best player in the world if he turns up. So,
well, yeah, that's what he's been striving to do. So we'll see. We'll see what happens tomorrow in that tie. Should be an interesting one. But we'll move on to the other fixtures. We'll go to Atletico against Leipzig. Two players from Atletico actually testing positive for the coronavirus. So it'd be interesting to see if that has any implications on the tournament. But that looks to be a good tie if it goes ahead, which it should be doing. Leipzig not ending the season, particularly well, especially with the sale of Timo Werner. A bit of, not say controversy there, but they would have liked him to finish the Champions League campaign with them. But another great chance for these two sides to make a Champions League semi-final. Daniel, what do you think is going to happen in this tie?
Yeah, I mean, I think you've hit the nail on the head there a little bit when you talked about Werner. Obviously, this is a Leipzig side that I think rightly so should come into this game with full confidence, having beaten Tottenham in the last round and beaten them comfortably. Now, I'm not saying Tottenham are on the same level as Atletico Madrid, nowhere near, but when you win games with such confidence as they did, it's obviously going to be a massive boost. Obviously, losing Werner is big because he's their main goal scorer, provides a few assists as well. And this is an Atletico Madrid side which is very good at defending, as we saw against Liverpool. So it's really going to be, I think it's set up to be a real tactical battle, the same way that Real Madrid versus Man City was set up. Who can break down the other one with the better tactics. And if I was a betting man, I would probably say that Diego Simeone is going to win this battle. I think that defensively, Atletico Madrid, like I said before, are very strong, and we know they can hit on the counter like we saw against Liverpool. And I think that missing Werner for Leipzig would be a little stretch too far for them to beat Atletico Madrid, and obviously Atletico Madrid have the firing power to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, that was well said. We've seen countless times Atletico Madrid in this sort of stage of the tournament, and what they can do to hurt teams, and they'll definitely be dogged in defence once again. And we've seen over the years how hard teams have found to break them down, and Simeone will have them set up perfectly, especially a one-off game as well. I think that plays into their hands too, so gives Leipzig less of a chance to break them down. And I think we'll see the Spanish side going into the semi-finals. And
I was just gonna say, if I had to predict though, I'd say 2-0 Atletico.
2-0 Atletico. I think this is a game we could see going to extra time potentially as well, especially how they play. Leipzig are a team that play on the counter attack as well. They're quite strong in that sense too. But I think they'll probably have most of the possession, and they're not necessarily used to that either. So it'll be an intriguing battle, especially without Timo Werner. Michael, do you have anything to add on that? Hi.
Yeah, just that it will be interesting to see Leipzig's young manager Julian Nagelsmann versus Simeone, and that would be kind of a good tactical battle. Because if Nagelsmann does somehow manage to get Leipzig through, because they were really good against Spurs, and Timo Werner was a big part of that. But I think it would be a huge credit to Nagelsmann if he managed to get Leipzig through as a coach.
Yeah, no, exactly. That looks to be a great tie as well. Very finely poised. Then the next game, which will be a Saturday morning in Sydney, or Friday night, I think it'll be in Europe. Barcelona taking on Bayern Munich. Absolute crunch tie, pick of the round. Just what a game we have here. Bayern, I think, are favourites for the competition, but Barcelona, with their European experience, you can never write them off. And this looks to be a mouth-watering event in Lisbon. What's your take, Daniel?
I mean, when we're looking at this game on paper, I think there's only one other tie in this competition that would be more mouth-watering, and that would be Bayern versus City. So I think we are in for quite a real treat here for this game, especially if, it's not even a question of if. Messi will do Messi things. He's a 6-time Ballon d'Or winner. It's bound to happen. But on the other flip side, Lewandowski has been the best player in Europe this season. And Bayern, and I think I said it last video, they are my favorites to win the whole thing. And you look when the restart happened in the Bundesliga, just watching some of their games, the way they played, it was almost effortless. The counter-attack, the attack, defense, it was just a joy to watch sometimes, and they score for fun. And with a Barcelona defense looking the way it is, especially how they fared in La Liga since the restart, you would fancy Bayern to score quite a few goals. Well, not quite a few, but you definitely fancy them to score in this game. But like I said, on the flip side, Barcelona got Messi, got Suarez, got Griezmann. If they're on it, they can also get you goals, and it will be a good match, I do believe. Whether Bayern actually run away with it or not, I'm not too sure. But if I did have to predict, I would say, I'd probably say 2-1 Bayern.
Yeah,
I think if Bayern, this could be the game where Bayern get knocked out. Personally, I just feel as though this will be a huge mental test for a lot of the Bayern players, like Gnabry, like Koeman is out, I think, but even Mueller and the midfield, because Barcelona can always hurt you with Messi, with Suarez, with Griezmann. Griezmann is a world-class player as well. So I just feel if if Messi is given the freedom, which the Bayern players might give him as they're trying to go on that, as they're trying to, act like attack Barcelona's backline, then Messi will win the game for Barca. And I know it's just a one-off game as well. It'd just be really interesting to see how, like, the dynamic of that game, how it will take shape. I think it'll be another good technical battle, to be honest.
Yeah,
So if I had to predict, I'd say, like 2-1 and Messi scores in the last minute or something like that, or sets one up and Bayern just like lapse concentration for that millisecond and get punished by like one of the best teams in the world and like the best player of all time. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I think just going off what you said, I think the first 15 minutes of that game will sort of tell us how it's going to finish, right? It's going to be super important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Teams figuring each other out.
It's Barcelona's 13th consecutive quarterfinal in the Champions League, which is a European record, actually. So it's remarkable how prevalent they've been in Europe's elite over the years. But yeah, we think back to when what was it? It was Guardiola's Bayern Munich when they travelled to the Nou Camp, and Messi absolutely turned it on that night, put Boateng on his backside, which I don't know if he'll still be having nightmares about that. He is a World Cup winner, but maybe that's something that also plays into the mind of Boateng too, that little psychological edge. But yeah, on night, Messi can destroy any team single-handedly. So I think for Bayern, it's about trying to focus efforts on shutting him down, and then once they do that, their football will speak for themselves. We've seen how dominant they've been this season throughout Germany and in Europe as well. So if they just concentrate on doing the right thing with Messi, I think that they will be the ones who progress in this tie.
Yeah, it's half the job done, right? If you can shut him down.
Yeah, exactly. And we've seen Barcelona's defense can be got at this season. I mean, against Napoli in the round of 16, second leg, yes, they score 3 first half goals, but then in the second half they lose their concentration a bit and allow Napoli sort of back into the game. Napoli get a goal, and then they score an offside goal. Yes, it's offside, but even that defense does not concentrate for 90 minutes. So I think Bayern, the way they're playing, they're always on top of you, and they're always looking to punish you. I think that Bayern will go through. Yeah. All right, we'll move on to the next match.
Fair points.
Yes. Final match of the quarterfinals. It's Man City taking on Lyon. I think we can say that Man City are favourites going into this one, but in a one-off tie again, you never know. But I think that the side from Manchester will prevail. Daniel, your thoughts?
I mean, I think anyone watching this right now will have to admit that City, like you said, are massive favorites, and it shouldn't really be that much of an issue for them. But I don't want to sit here and just be like, oh, it's only Lyon, the crap, That it's almost a write-off. They might as well not show up, because I feel like we do have to give Lyon credit, especially the way they played the 2 legs against Juventus. Like, they won for a reason, and I think we saw if they can do what they did against Juventus again, against Man City, which is, try to push hard as early as possible, and that's how they got their first goal, being a penalty. I think that they could, sort of shock Man City, especially if they do get an early goal. And we saw against Juventus that they do know how to defend, and then, like we said, in a one-off game, anything can happen. So if they put up a good defensive performance, then, don't be completely surprised if they win, especially because it was a harsh penalty for Ronaldo to score, and then obviously world-class goal. No one's saving that. and I don't expect City to score a goal like that. So don't be. There is still a chance that Lyon could sneak this in a one-off game, but like you said, if you're a betting man, this is an easy 3-4-0 to City.
You think so? 3-4-0, like a Burnley,
Yeah.
or a Watford.
8-0. But
Yeah, unfortunately, yes, yeah.
for that, it depends what City shows up really, because
If
we've
City
seen
do that, that would be the nastiest display in history. Just like wiping a team in a one-legged competition like that.
Yeah.
Like they're like a Watford. I don't know. If that's possible.
Well, you saw it in the FA Cup. They had no mercy against, or albeit Watford isn't the same quality as Lyon, but they smacked them 6-0 in an FA Cup final. If you think Watford would have put in a better shift, but City are definitely capable of whipping it. But if the other team shows up, the one with defensive vulnerabilities, that's an annoying word to say.
Honestly, I would love to see that happen. I'd love to see Mahrez just do mad thing. De Bruyne, like, and Jesus grab a couple. I think it'd be beautiful if that happened. But I just don't think it will.
Well, it's a one-off game as well. If they're Lyon, they'll be up for it too. And as Daniel mentioned, if they start strong early, we've seen City teams capitulate in the past when teams start strongly against them early. I'm a bit biased in saying this maybe, but thinking back to Anfield in 2017-18, the first leg of that quarterfinal tie, when they came to Anfield and we put 3 past them in the first half, they were completely blown away. I think it was in the space of 15 minutes, we scored 3 goals. So if you start strong and keep the pressure up on them, their defense is more than capable of collapsing. And that was when they had, I think, Laporte and company playing as well. So, yeah. All right.
Yep. 100% agreed.
So that's Man City, Lyon. Making great ties in the Champions League, and hopefully COVID does not affect.
Sorry, I was just saying we can just quickly run through the Europa League as well, and I'm sure people aren't here to listen to that. So if you want,
we'll quickly run through that. We'll start with United then. Daniel being a United supporter, 1-0 victory in extra time against Copenhagen. Bruno Fernandes slotting the penalty. What do you make of that game?
Can I curse?
Yes, it was uncensored.
Shit. Just garbage. I don't know what you want me to say, man. Like, we had chances, and obviously fair play to the Copenhagen goalkeeper. 13 saves, Europa League record. Got to give him credit. We had a lot of the ball, but we didn't. They defended very well, which made it hard. But we weren't, forcing the issue like we were towards the end of the Premier League season there, which was a bit disappointing considering we started our strongest front three. And Copenhagen had their chances, but they never actually really looked like properly scoring. They always seemed to fall at the last hurdle, and their either their shot or their final pass was off. So I wasn't really worried about losing the game, but definitely the game dragging out and having to win it with a penalty is just doesn't fill you with a lot of hope for the next round, is all I'll say. Considering how I watched Sevilla today, they were pretty good.
Yeah, I think we'll go to that game then if you don't mind. If you have anything else to say about the United game, I don't think it was that eventful. But Sevilla knocking out Wolves. I think it was an 88th minute header from Ocampos. Wolves only with 25% possession that game. They were very tactically astute, I guess you could put it. But yeah, it's also missing a penalty, crucial penalty that game. Maybe that could have been a different story if that goes in. But I think on the basis of play, Sevilla deserved to go through.
Yeah, I mean, unless Michael wants to take here, I can go for it because I watched the game. What I will say is,
I just want to say, where are you getting all these penalties from, though? Like, there's some force going on here.
Hey man, you gotta attack, and the more you attack, the more likely you are to win a penalty, right? That's what we're doing right now. But for the Sevilla game, it was like obviously it was mainly Sevilla. Wolves started first 20 minutes really good, unlucky to miss. Well, not unlucky to miss the penalty, but you know,
Well, they
great
should have been.
save.
It should have been retaken because the Sevilla players, I think there's one or two of them, were like 2 yards inside the box before Jimenez
Oh, I
actually.
didn't know that.
So they missed that. So they were unlucky, I guess, with the penalty not being able to be retaken. But overall, I don't think they were unlucky in terms of the result.
No, but we do have to give them credit.
No, they got dominated, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They had 24% possession, I think.
Yeah, but also when
And
we
one
look at
shot.
the game, Santos came in with a plan, and they did really well for what they wanted to do. Defensively, it was a really good performance. Unlucky to be undone by a header that maybe they probably should have done a bit better with. But ultimately, yeah, when you're looking at the game, Sevilla deserved to go through. But I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, Wolves were crap, because they played their hearts out.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't watch the game. I just looked at the stats earlier.
Yeah.
And I saw that Sevilla absolutely dominated the whole game.
Yeah, I think it was also 600 some passes compared to 100 as well. But yeah, do anything else to add on the game?
I think the only other thing is Sevilla had a similar problem. Well, not similar problem to us, but before they scored, I think they only had one shot on target that I can remember, at least. So their finishing was actually a little bit of a problem.
I was looking at, I think it was with ESPN, like they do like the expected goals of each team, and I think Wolves' expected goals was like 1.2, and then Sevilla's was only 1.5. So if you look at that in terms of like chances created and stuff, then it wasn't too much. Yeah,
split them now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll move on to the other matches quickly. Shakhtar Donetsk defeating Basel 4-1. Not too much to say on that. I only saw the highlight.
Watch it.
That one. I think it was 3 Brazilians scored for Shakhtar. They always seem to have some good Brazilian players, the likes of Willian and Douglas Costa. Fred, yes. And so they're through to the semi-finals. And also Inter Milan defeated by Leverkusen. Was it Lukaku that popped up with 2 goals? He got 1 goal, Lukaku. I think he's got 31 goals for the season, or he's in the 30s, Lukaku, which is the first time he's done that maybe ever, or the first time in a while at least. But Antonio Conte definitely turning his career around, I think we can say.
Yeah. I mean, I think you guys are somewhat expecting me to be like, oh, jealous that Lukaku's doing all this. But if you look at Lukaku last season, he wasn't doing it. So I'm not, crying over spilt milk here. I think our forwards have done pretty well this season as well, all things considered. So, fair play to him. And he's banging in the goals in a league that's probably a bit easier to bang in the goals in the Premier League. So that's what you expect.
No, fair enough. Inter will take on Shakhtar Donetsk.
I just want to say, I kind of have a feeling that Sevilla might do one on Manchester United. To be honest, just like they did it on Liverpool a few years ago in the final.
Yeah.
To be honest,
Yeah,
I think that would be a nice
story. To win the whole thing.
Well, they've got the experience in the competition. They are the league specialists, so it'll be a good game to watch. That Sevilla United tie coming up. United will have to be on their game if they want to, defeat Sevilla. But that could be a close one too. It's going to be interesting to see. And then I think we expect Inter to make the final duel against Shakhtar.
I mean, I'd love it if they didn't. I'd love to see Shakhtar in the final.
Well, for the neutral, the spectacle, a good game.
Yeah.
Would be.
Yeah, for the neutral, of course.
Yeah.
The final is going to be Sevilla versus Shakhtar. And it's just going to be amazing.
It's a dead final. Sevilla win that about 3-0.
Yeah. Well, that's the Europa League. covered with that. We can preview that a bit more when it gets closer to the date. I'm sure Daniel has a few things to say for the Sevilla match ahead of that. But other than that, we'll touch on some more transfer gossip, I guess we can say. Going back to Inter Leverkusen, I think Kai Havertz, yes, he scores in that match. Rumored to go to Chelsea. I think Bayer was it around 100 million. I don't know where Chelsea
It hasn't happened.
Money, but it looks still in the works to happen.
I don't, like you said, I don't know where they're getting all this money from, because they haven't sold anyone yet. All they've done is let people go on free transfers, but
Yeah.
I mean, if they get it done, I think we said it last week, that's a scary front three.
Yeah, no, exactly. And also just coming off a transfer ban as well. I don't know how they're doing all this, but yeah, no, that would be a magnificent signing for them. Also, Jadon Sancho, apparently, well, he was on the plane to Dortmund's training camp. I think it was in Switzerland, and yeah, United didn't meet the so-called deadline, which is August 10th, to pay the 100 million for him. So, Daniel, yeah,
So I do just want to say that, do you guys believe this 100%? I mean, you guys had the scenario with Fernando Torres, where it was like, I'm not leaving, and then 2 weeks later he's off to Chelsea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's funny because the Dortmund director did this, I think, 2 years ago with Dembele. He said, nope, not selling him. He's staying on next season. Then 100 million off to Barcelona like a week later.
Yeah, well,
So
he went strike. He didn't play because he wanted to move. So I don't know if we'll see the same thing with Sancho, but
I still think, sporting directors, they do. It's not like they lie, but they're always going to be like, oh no, it's our player, yada yada yada. But if the right money comes in, 100% they'll sell.
yeah. Michael, any
I don't
thoughts?
think it's done just yet.
No. Michael, any thoughts on Sancho's transfer or potential transfer to Man United?
Yeah, I kind of believe the Dortmund guy when he says that he's going to stay. And I think Sancho probably wants to stay for another year. Just because
Okay.
it might be a better place to develop than go straight into Manchester United right now.
Do you think he'll go to United next season, though?
He still gets to play with probably better players, maybe Haaland, Brandt, in some of the midfield. But I think he should go to Manchester United eventually, maybe next year. But I just feel like maybe his time with Dortmund isn't up yet.
Yeah, it could be that sort of situation. I mean, we saw it with Liverpool and Van Dijk when they wanted to sign him in the previous window, but there's that whole saga of Liverpool talking to Van Dijk without that sort of permission from Southampton. And this could be a thing that if United really want him, then they could end up waiting that extra season. I don't know if that will happen. I still think the transfer will probably
Because he's still English. He's still English. Like, I'm guessing his home is England, where his family lives and everything. So he probably wants to come back to England at some point. Rather than, I don't know. I'm just guessing, to be honest.
I just don't want another Fernandes thing. They were supposed to sign him in summer, and then they were like, oh no. And then, we end up waiting half a year, which really hurt us because we weren't playing great. And then Fernandes comes in, and all of a sudden, So I'm like Troop says, get the thing done, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, we've seen that with United. Their last transfer windows, they sort of, laggy in terms of, who they want to get. They've taken a bit long to close some deals, whereas we sort of
bro. If you guys actually spend 120 million on Sancho just to get him, then
Mate, I don't see their
Shit
valuation coming down. I don't see their valuation coming down, though.
It's not going to come down. It's definitely not. And then they probably think that he's going to have a good enough season that someone else might pay for it.
Yeah, well,
maybe.
Like a Man City, right?
I think he said
Fresh off their FFP.
I don't think he said he would go back.
Court drought. Oh, yeah, you're probably right on that, yeah.
Especially not with all the competition they have as well. Bernardo Silva, Sterling, Mahrez. I don't know if that's something he'd want to do.
Torres as well.
True shit.
Yeah, the son, Ferran Torres.
Yeah, wow.
But
Ferran Torres.
Yeah, we will. You've seen, United. I was just going to touch on like they've been a bit, slow in signing who they want. Whereas if you compare them to the teams, well, Liverpool and Man City, which they're sort of striving to get to, they've closed their deals sort of right away in the last few windows. We've seen it with, although it's not a major signing, Tsimikas, Liverpool signing a left back from Olympiacos. City have gone in and signed Ferran Torres straight away and Nathan Ake. So they know exactly what they want to get, and they have great transfer policies, which have proven to work over the last few seasons. So
All I will say is if we end up with either Ivan Perisic or Kingsley Coman, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
you're not going to buy a Perisic jersey, if it,
No, mate. I'll
Well,
be done.
What if he's a baller, bro? He probably is a baller. He is a
Bro,
baller.
he's like
Remember him in
32.
Croatia? Oh yeah. He needs to go to MLS. Bro.
he'd have a good World Cup, to be fair.
Live
But
in America.
I still remember when Liverpool signed Ricky Lambert. I thought he made, score us a few goals that season and take us to top 4 at least. So that was,
Short-lived.
Perisic isn't the worst compared to, signing Ricky Lambert. You could be in worse positions, but
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, but no, Perisic, I don't think United will go into someone like him. He's a bit too old and not what United are sort of looking for. I think that was a previous United signing that we may have seen, but not anymore under Solskjaer. Yeah, so other transfers, it looks like Gareth Bale is going to wait 2 years on his deal to move, which may not be the best thing for him football-wise, but in terms of cash, he's still rolling it in. What else do we have? There hasn't
Bro,
been
that's ridiculous though. Gareth Bale, what is he doing, bro? I
Making
mean,
that
like,
money.
I get, but can he please just move to Spurs or something? That would be great.
Right?
Just take a salary cut or something. Like, he doesn't need to be paid that much just to sit on his fucking ass, bro. You know what I'm saying?
It's sad. It's sad to see that.
Like, it's kind of disrespectful and it's kind of disgraceful to like everything, bro. To be honest.
I mean, I'll be 100% honest, and I don't want people to get mad at me, but like, of all clubs this could happen to, I'm okay with it being Real Madrid.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll touch on some other transfer rumors just quickly. I'll just go through just a list, and you guys can sort of chime in if you have anything to add on it. We've got West Brom, Leeds, and Fulham apparently in for Ryan Fraser. There's also Chelsea looking to sell Bakayoko to AC Milan. Real Madrid apparently want to keep Dani Ceballos after his loan spell at Arsenal. We've got Iheanacho apparently targeted by Fenerbahce. Then Bayern looking to sell Liverpool. Thiago Alcantara, that's also been a big rumour so far this season. Immobile and Newcastle United. That's an interesting one. We've also got, what else is there? There was one that I was going to read out quickly. David Silva to Lazio as well is also part of the rumour list. Anything to add on any of those transfers, guys?
I mean, David Silva to Lazio, yeah, I could see it. I think it's a pretty good fit, and he would pair up with Immobile because that Newcastle link is a joke.
I don't something he would necessarily want to do, but
no, didn't they come like third in the Serie A or something like that?
Yeah, he's been one of the top strikers in Serie A, and to go
No,
to
but I mean, I think Lazio are playing Champions League football next season, so
be a strange, very odd move.
yeah.
And then, also Leicester apparently in for Dwight McNeil from Burnley, which
I heard something about Juventus want McNeil, like Perlo likes him or something, but I don't know about that.
Yeah, come on, that'd be amazing.
Dwight
McNeil up top with Ronaldo.
I've never pictured that like a couple of years back.
Best friends, bro. Best friends. Dwight McNeil, no.
It's
It'll be over at his house every Sunday having dinner.
Just imagine Pirlo and Dwight McNeil just sharing a pizza and like an Italian espresso. Just could not.
Dwight is the best footballer I've ever played with.
Oh my goodness. Seeing Dwight captain Juventus to Champions League would
Oh
but
Of
enough
course.
Dwight McNeil. Yeah, a few of those rumors knocking about. Who knows if any of them will actually ring true? But we will. I was going to just open this up quickly on my phone. It was on the BBC. They're looking at picking their favorite Champions League quarterfinal in history. So we'll just look at some of the games we had. Some absolute bangers. We'll start off with one that Daniel, I'm sure, is
yeah. Was
aware.
it Roma?
No, it's Real Madrid against Man United in 2003. Real Madrid winning that
4-3.
6-5 on aggregate.
Dude,
Well,
wasn't one of the games 4-3?
I think it must have been, yeah.
Yeah,
That
I think it was Old Trafford.
the original Ronaldo. Really,
So I was only 5 when that happened, so I wasn't exactly kicking around watching it back then. But I mean, if you haven't seen the highlights, I recommend it. The leg at Old Trafford was a fantastic game.
yeah.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, definitely up there for one of the greater quarterfinals for sure.
Yeah, there's also that Roma Man United tie. So I'm just going to go through these quickly because we have to sort of wrap it up. I've got a university lecture in 5 minutes. So 2008, 3, Liverpool 5. We remember the late show with Gerrard scoring that penalty late on after Adebayor. Supposedly Arsenal thought they were going through after that goal. 2009, unfortunately, Liverpool losing 5-7 to Chelsea on aggregate. I remember watching that one actually right before I had swimming lessons at Michael's house. I don't know if you remember that, Michael. Yeah. But that moment, I remember before those swimming lessons, we'd always hide from the teachers playing football in your backyard, and before we actually had to get in the pool, which was quite funny. Bayern, I think they went through an away goals to Man United. It was 4-4 cricket.
Oh, was that 2010?
Yeah, 2010.
Yeah, and I remember Valencia scored a great goal.
Yeah, we had there's Barcelona defeating Arsenal 6-3, 2010 as well. I remember watching that one in 2013, Malaga losing 2-3 to Dortmund, Klopp's Dortmund. That was a cracking semi.
Last minute from
Yeah,
Santana, was it? The defender?
yeah, Santana.
Yeah.
My goodness, I remember watching that at Michael's place actually. That was
Yeah, I
two.
remember that game. That game was.
Barcelona Roma 2018 4-4. Roma going through on away goals. Absolute banger that one too. Tottenham 4, Man City 4, 2019. That was VAR drama. That was a magnificent game as well. And yeah, out of all those, which one would be your favorites, guys?
I mean, like, obviously, I'd be tempted to go for the United ones, even though we lost. But I'd have to say Dortmund Malaga, because just the way that I mean,
Yeah.
Dortmund made the final, and just the way it ended. And I think it was like the 95th minute, and it was just so controversial. Yeah, loved it.
Michael, your favorite?
I think there's better games than those games, isn't there?
Yeah, this is just
I
what
mean, if you can name some.
I remember the Barcelona PSG 6-1.
Is that quarterfinal?
I think so.
I think
Wasn't
it quarterfinal round of 16. I can't remember, but there's also maybe Liverpool, Man City. Or from a Liverpool perspective, that's quite biased. We go 3-0 up, beat them 2-1 at the Etihad. That was a great season for us. But I'm picking my favorite. Trying to be.
Those are two really good games as well. Those are two really good games, especially one at Anfield where Liverpool were 3-0 up and they scored 3 goals in 10 minutes.
York scores that hanging from outside the box as well. That was
good
moment
and
for
Mane,
us.
Mane, fucking.
Just quickly to end, my favorite maybe. Trying to be unbiased here, Tottenham against Man City 4-4. I think that was had drama in it as well. Spurs scoring 2 early goals. I think there was 4 goals in the space of the first 20 minutes or something. It was ridiculous.
And
But,
then Man City thought they won it, and then VAR. Yeah.
Oh
Weird
yeah, that's my
scenes.
favorite. No, yeah.
anyway, we'll round it off there. I have to get to my lecture in 1 minute, so I'll see if I can make that on time.
Oh shit.
We'll just quickly there. Please like, subscribe, and yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.
and yeah.
Peace, everybody.